of April 15, 1912. A historical, fatal tragedy occurred on this date. But thanks to Morse code, some were saved from the freezing waters of the South Pole. Morse code was a very helpful system that helped many people that were either in need of assistance or couldn't speak. Morse code was a great way to communicate from miles away when in need. Samuel Finley Breese Morse was born on April 27, 1791, and was born and raised in Charlestown, Massachusetts. He was a son of a very, very, very special geographer and congregational clergyman, Jedediah Morse. From Phillips Academy in Andover, Massachusetts, where he had been an unsteady and odd student, his parents sent him to Yale College in New Haven, Connecticut. Although he was a very special student, his interest arose by the lectures on a subject called electricity. For the love he had of his strict parents, he enjoyed painting miniature portraits. After graduating from Yale in 1810, Morse became a clerk for Boston book publisher, but painting continued to be his main interest. And in 1811, his parents helped him go to England in order to study that art with an American painter, Washington Allston. Like the majority of Americans of his time, however, he accepted English artistic standards, including historical style of painting, the romantic portrayal of legends. He was good friends with Marquis de Lafayette and James Fenimore Cooper. Morse and Cooper shared several traits. Both were ardent U.S. Republicans, and though both had artistic social tastes, they both suffered from American preference for European art. Meanwhile, Morse was still spending most of his time painting and teaching art at the University of City of York. But in 1837, he had turned his full attention to a new invention. A staff member at the university, chemist Leonard Gale, introduced Morse to Joseph Henry's work on electromagnetism. The powerful electromagnets that Henry had used allowed Morse to send messages over 10 miles of wire, a much longer distance than 40 feet over the first model could transmit. A friend, Alfred Vail, offered to borrow materials and labor to build models in the family's ironworks in Morristown, New Jersey. Gale and Vail became partners in Morse's telegraph rights. By 1838, he and Vail had developed the system of dots and dashes that became known throughout the world as Morse code. In 1838, the telegraph line he acquired Maine Congressman F.O.G. Smith as an additional partner. Sadly, Morse passed on April 2nd, 1872, in New York. The American telegraph industry was never abandoned the original Morse code, and so it used and continually until the spread of the teleprinter in the 1920s and 30s. Here are some examples of how Morse code was used. Here is the electric telegraph being used. As you can see, it was very sophisticated for its time. Here you can see and how the words would look like in Morse code. The Morse code system used electricity and taps to transfer these dots and dashes to other telegraphs. Here's an example of Morse code system being an impact during the World War eras. During World War II, Morse code was used between warships and naval bases because radio frequencies was limited and also easily overridden by military enemies. Admiral Jeremiah Denton Jr. used his eyes to blink the word torture, using Morse code during his captivity in Vietnam. He was filmed for promotional purposes, and this video was sent all around the world. Naval Forces was able to decipher his strange blinking. He was awarded Navy Cross, our nation's second highest military honor, for his heroism as a prisoner of war. Hope you enjoyed. Here are my credits.